From Good Morning Britain on X, an information vacuum in the wake of the Southport murders led to lies and rumours on social media, fueling the summer's riots, a group of MPs has said. Disorder broke out across the country after the killings of Alice De Silva, Elsie Stancombe and BB King, Juliet Dunlop reports. Right then, yesterday's video was quite a chirpy, good-natured affair, wasn't it? Ribbing my Scottish pals, but this isn't going to be that. No. This is going to be an angry, bad-tempered affair. Yes, indeed. The rage boner may be popping its little purple head over the desk during this one, so if you're easily offended, probably best not to watch it. Turn the brightness down, just listen to the audio. And that absolute gibberish follows on from this one 11 hours ago, so they're really trying to make hay with it. A new report into last summer's riots that followed the Southport attacks has found that the violent unrest was fueled by social media activity, and it suggests a dedicated police force to monitor and respond to social media posts at a national level. Yeah. So it was Amazon's fault, it was Jeff Bezos' fault that those little innocent girls lost their lives. And it's social media's fault that the riots happened, definitely. So now, and bear in mind I just covered this last week, now in an era where 12,500 people a year are getting arrested for making very ordinary criticisms of the government on social media, like the worst type of Stalinist toe stompers at the height of his power, in the UK, the police don't need any extra help. They certainly don't need a dedicated task force because they're arresting 12,500 people a year for social media posts. It's beyond a joke. Are they arresting that many people for burglary? Why don't they make a burglary task force? The numbers suggest they don't need any help dealing with this non-issue. Anyway, these two stories are, in my eyes, they're a national scandal. It's the holy trinity of the three things you do not see from a free and fair and open, transparent government. It's a mixture of gaslighting, because all of the rumours that spread turned out to be true, and we've all got eyeballs, and we all know it was Axel Rudu Kanubu, and not Yaya Evans or Gareth Davies that was doing the stabbing. So check one, it's authoritarianism, because they're just going to lock more people up for criticising their policies and talking about the people who are murdering children. And the cherry on top, it's full-blown propaganda, isn't it? Full-blown propaganda. Because these stories are now being pushed, and the report that they've fabricated, making out that it was all due to lies, when the public were telling the truth, and the government was telling lies. So that's 3 strikes, lads. You're out. Right, first things first, let's jump into this one. Rest assured, I won't make you watch all of it.
How would this special police unit operate then? In my mind's eye, I'm seeing officers sitting in front of their monitors, basically watching debates going on Twitter, on X, say, on Instagram, open-ended websites, and basically say, there's one. There's somebody who's making a direct racist threat, a racist comment, and inciting violence. We're going after them. Is that how it would work?
Well, I mean, the devil will be in the detail, but I don't think it would work like that. I think it's more around a national, because the report specifically says...
Yeah, it won't work like that, Mr. Babu. It won't work like that. It'll be 2 fat, partially sighted, registered disabled police officers eating jammy dodgers and custard creams by the barrel, sat on the fat arses, looking at a screen, while muggers and burglars and serial diddlers have their wicked way with all of the public. That's what's going to happen. But carry on.
At national level. So we have 43 forces. They all have a slightly different approach in terms of resources they're putting into dealing with social media. I think the people will say, actually, this is curtailing free speech. We don't have absolute free speech. There are restrictions. You can't make misogynist, you can't make racist, you can't make hateful comments anyway.
So it's out the horse's mouth. You can't make misogynistic comments. Yeah. And who decides when you cross the line into misogyny? That's why free countries don't have rules about freedom of speech. Who decides? So is the bar that low? If I argue with a woman on the internet, and she can call me whatever she wants, because there's no law against misandry, is there? She can call me whatever she wants. They love throwing little dick, incel, virgin, loser. They love throwing words like that at you. And if you respond, bitch, Oh, unlucky. You've crossed the line, because that's misogyny. And who decides? Well, Babu does. And anyone who shares Babu's politics, let's say a woman who's spitting the most vile hatred at you, she'll be treated with kid gloves and they'll overlook it. It's not really a crime to abuse men anyway. But if you respond after she's spat hatred and vitriol at you for 10 minutes and you say, leave me alone, you bitch, yeah, well, guess who's getting nicked by the government task force? Cheers then. And we've got two-tier justice, so we might as well start two-tier jail systems, shall we? Any woman who does something awful, like poisons her husband or stabs her dad to death, she can go a nice open prison, somewhere nice like Harrogate. You know, so she can do a shopping on a weekend, like Maxine Carr did after she helped Ian Huntley kill them kids. You know, he got life in prison, she got to go shopping and get her hair done in Gisborough. It's a big scandal up in the northeast, but I'll have to make another video about that one.
So this is really about having a coordinated approach. And what we saw with Southport was misinformation that wasn't challenged, which created a vacuum. And we know that Russian bots were involved. We know people from around the world were giving...
Lies, propaganda and lies. We don't know that Russian bots were involved. Why is the Kremlin sitting there going, oh look, there's been a violent incident in Southport. Quick, get the Russian bots out, lads. We don't know Russian bots are involved. Definitely not. There is no proof that Russians were behind disinformation following the Southport attacks. None. So that's an outright lie. What we do know is people were very, very angry for 3 reasons, okay? So let's decide who's lying and who's propagandizing the public here. He's saying Russian bots spread lies and that's what caused the riots, okay? I'll tell you the 3 reasons why the riots did happen. And we all know it, so this is going to be a little bit boring, isn't it? But I'll tell you them anyway. 1, people pointed out that if the murderer was a foreigner who was relatively recently imported to England, the little girls died for no reason. Number 2, people pointed out that if the person that did the killing was the follower of one very specific ideology, it was yet more evidence that the government's going soft on them and allowing them to get away with blue murder and putting thousands and thousands of them on watch lists and not doing anything about it. And point number 3, people were very, very angry that he may already be known by the authorities, and they expected him to be known by the authorities, which meant the government had failed in its duty of care to its people, and the reason those children were dead was because of those 3 reasons. Letting in foreigners, going soft on one particular religious ideology, and not doing anything about the fact that we know people are violent and dangerous, and they're all on a massive list, and that's the end of the matter. They're on lists, so at least we can get all of the personal details after they kill people. But we don't do anything useful with that information, do we? And what, pray tell, transpired after the incident, months after, when they'd locked up a load of innocent people for tweeting? What transpired? The killer was indeed of Rwandan origin. He was named Axel Rudu Kanubu. We knew exactly who he was. He'd been arrested half a dozen times and he was already known to the Prevent team. So the whole reason everybody was angry were those 3 reasons, and guess what? We were all right. So Babu's a liar, a proven liar, and everything I've just said is true, and that's why people were angry. And may the gods strike me down if a lie has just left my lips. Oh look, no lightning bolt. If there was any justice, Mr. Babu would have 60,000 volts malleting him right about now though, wouldn't he? The second pile of absolute shite is this. An information vacuum in the wake of the Southport murders led to lies and rumours. Julia Dunlop reports.
Outside a hotel that was targeted in the riots as it was housing migrants. Juliet, good morning to you. The report also found no evidence of 2-tier policing, didn't it?
Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe your lying eyes. No evidence of 2-tier policing. None. I could throw up hundreds of examples. Nay, thousands. But again, I feel like I'd be boring you. I've made a dozen videos. In fact, I think I made a video called the 2-tier top 10. I'll put that down in the description. But our media's covered some of them. We are replete with examples of stone-cold killers getting less jail time than people who put stickers on lampposts and middle-aged old ladies like Julia Sweeney who got sent to prison for 3 years, or poor old Lucy Connolly, who we all know about, who got arrested, denied bail, and jailed for 31 months and isn't allowed to see her children because of one post, because she was very upset and very, very angry, and she quickly deleted it anyway. 3 years in prison for daring to get upset when little girls get murdered by foreign men known to the authorities. Have I made the point yet?
Yeah, morning, Maureen. The report very strong on that, making it clear that those who were involved in the riots were not treated differently because of their supposed political views. Those were some of the accusations that police faced at the time, including claims that they were being heavy-handed. But the report says those claims were baseless and calls the response entirely necessary given the levels of violence the police were facing at the time. Now, as you say, disorder broke out following the fatal stabbings in Southport of B.B. King, Elsie Dot Stankham and Alistair Silva Aguirre. Following those attacks, well, a in the town was targeted, largely fueled by misinformation on social media and speculation that the attacker was an asylum seeker. False information, of course, we now know.
Right, so blatant lies, blatant propaganda, unbelievably obnoxious lies. They're such bad, obvious, blatant lies that it's offensive. It's insulting to my intelligence. At least if you're going to tell a lie, try a little one that, I might not see through. Don't tell me, after the last 5 years, that definitely there's no two-tier policing in the UK when kiddie fiddlers and surprise sex enthusiasts get 2 months in jail, but sticker users and middle-aged housewives who tweet whilst upset get 3 years in prison. Do not piss in my face and tell me it's raining, you lying, jizz-raddled government propagandist. Don't do it, because it's insulting. Anyway, I'm getting raged, so I'm not going to watch the rest of it. Suffice it to say, the annoyance wasn't about the fact that he was possibly an asylum seeker. I've covered the big 3 points, and all 3 of them were true. The average rioter doesn't pay that much attention. They don't do legalese. They don't sit there and go, yes, but was he an illegal immigrant, a refugee, or an asylum seeker? They don't do that. They just go, would this bloke who killed all them little girls be in this country if the government did its job? Is he of foreign origin? Did he like the writings of Osama and the other people that, that are recruited by ISIS or are members of Al-Qaeda? And was he well known to the government and the authorities? And had he been arrested loads of times? And was he a pain up the arse for his entire life? And the government knew he was a problem and they didn't do anything about it? They're the main reasons why people are very, 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 very angry. Oh yeah, and the cherry on top, it's because innocent, sweet, dead children are the result of the government's lies, cover-ups, propaganda, and jackbooted response to normal people who get upset about the forcible expiration of little girls. You absolute degenerates. These people are beneath contempt. I'd lock these reporters up alongside Mr. Huntley. Right, that's how low they are. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I always considered myself a reasonable, socially liberal chap, but one extreme causes the other extreme. I'd have never even considered the idea of locking up a reporter for spewing lies all the time. But when they've been doing it for the last 5 years and locking everybody else up for telling the truth, how do you expect people to get upset about locking people up for telling lies? You can see why the far left causes the far right. Because at this point, I'm well up for jailing journalists. Get it done. If you're going to lock people up for telling the truth, seems to me it's reasonable to lock some people up for telling lies as well, isn't it? But that's just my opinion. If you think I'm wrong for being angry about the murder of children, please let me know in the comments so I can add you to my list of mentally ill Guardian reading sociopaths. And it's getting to be a long list. But I need one, because I'll have to hand it over to the authorities when they start filling the jails up with journalists, all right? We're on a slippery slope. You are living in a dystopian hellscape. And don't let the government and these fake reports that they write themselves tell you otherwise. All right? Thanks for tuning in. That's my 2 cents. I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.